Grade A. Grade A.
What's good, YouTube family? What's good, Grade A family? Welcome to another episode of the Grade A Show. Make sure y'all like the channel, continue to subscribe, leave comments down below. Mike, what's good, my guy?
Whew, what a game, to say the least.
Man,
Not what I expected, but that was I didn't know I was watching the finals there. That's crazy.
Before we get into it, Mike, man, y'all see the title down below, man. The Celtics dominate game 1 of the NBA Finals, beat the Mavericks 107.
They didn't beat the Mavericks. They beat the LA Fitness All-Stars from Dallas.
Man, it looked like shout out to you, man. Thanks for tuning in, man. Mike, going off of what you say, you know, did you expect this game 1?
I think I totally forgot that Jason Kidd coached someplace else before Dallas in his whole body of work, I think, before this, because I looked like I was watching the same coach from before. We got Green standing in the corner doing absolutely nothing with 4 guys around the perimeter just guarding it. And no, we're not gonna push the ball to the hoop in the first half. We're just gonna keep taking dumbass shots and only put up 30 points in the first half. What the hell are we doing out there?
Yeah, you know what kind of was crazy to me. And they stated that Jason Kidd talked to Kyrie at halftime about this, but he was playing really a lot of one-on-one basketball the first half of the game. I think he only finished the game with 2 assists. Shooting 6 for 19 and only had two assists. He wasn't getting nobody involved. I mean, Luka only had 1 assist, so we could just call it right there, right now for Dallas. I mean, they wasn't really trying to give the ball to nobody as far as Luka and Kyrie out there. PJ Washington ended up having 14. He shot 5 for 11. I think he had a very aggressive game. But for me, this is what I was talking about when the Celtics is at the heat of their moment. And we'll get to the third quarter a little bit later. But let's start off with the first half of that game. I mean, the Celtics just came out on effing fire. And I think we got to pinpoint Kristaps Porzingis right now and what he did. How do you feel he looked first half of the game?
He looked like he was 100%. He didn't look injured at all. You shouldn't be. This isn't even a question, bro. Like, I don't even get, if that's the thing, I don't get why he wasn't starting. Like, are we just going to keep playing the role of, oh, I'm not 100% like it was in the interview the other day? Like, he showed out on the court. There was no reason for him not to be starting. If they did that, they could have had like a 30-point lead at the end of the first.
You know what I believe? And this is, I don't know if this is true. This is just me talking shit right now. I believe that Kristaps has been fine since the Cleveland series. I'm not going to say 100%, but I think he's been fine to be able to come back out there on that court. I just think the way that the series has been going with them and then Indiana, I think they purposely let him out. But man, shout out to him, man. He had a lot of confidence out there.
You
A
know, I
lot of
texted you
confidence.
before the game. I thought he might have been faking in the press conference, and I think that was confirmed tonight, man. They said he was on no minutes restriction. He's not on the injury report. I know the Celtics have a history of downplaying injuries, but he was the team for a while. He was getting blocks on one end, going down, hitting a three on the other, just back and forth for a good 5 minute stretch there in the first quarter.
I think that was a smart, simple move by the Celtics and probably by Porzingis too, was to play it off that way. He could have been fine. I don't know. Have you noticed that you didn't see no clips of Porzingis playing any 5-on-5 in practice runs with the Celtics since they got past the Indiana series? I've been seeing him shooting around and stuff like that, but running and up and down on the practice court with those guys, and taking body contact, I didn't see any of it.
Yeah, but the other thing is too there's probably plenty of practices that there's no cameras in on, without a doubt, and they could have just been doing this whole magic show the whole time because they've seen kids coach in history. Like, don't get me wrong, he's been decent this playoffs, but he hasn't been a good coach if we look over history. So they say, oh, he's gonna plan for this because look at what happened when Aaron Rodgers, Kevin Durant had the same injury. They come back in a matter of minutes. They tear the Achilles. So he's gonna just play like, oh, we don't have to guard him when you have no one on your team who can match up with him.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy, man. Like I said, he ended up playing 21 minutes that game. I know we talked about it a little bit before, but I had him between 15, and I think the cap for me was at least 20 minutes into that game. So first half, I think they definitely did pretty good. The Celtics came out pretty hot. But I also think Dallas missed a lot of shots. I think, and something you pointed out too, was the defense from the Celtics and the scheme that they was playing.
Phenomenal.
To me, it looked like they was playing a 1-2-2 defense. And it was you didn't see the adjustment from Dallas until the second half, where they started basically widening up the Celtics defensively to be able to drive in the paint a little bit more. But shout out to Celtics, man. Porzingis came out on fire. It was crazy for him to be missing the last 10 games. We know in the playoffs, that's about almost a month and some change. And for him to come out 8 for 13, 2 for 4 from 3 was pretty good. And he looked solid, especially on the defensive end.
For sure.
Finishing with 3 blocks too. So,
and what I just don't get is how we talk about the defensive scheme. I told you they're going to have to go down to the paint, kick it out to get some guy open. That only works if your wing moves. We have Green just standing there in the corner doing nothing. Literally nothing. He's just standing there every possession. And then Bill Belichick, he said it best. If you wait till halftime to make adjustments, it's too late and you lose. He could have made those adjustments way before halftime.
Yeah, and bringing it back to the Mavericks too. I mean, you got PJ Washington had 14 points. Derrick Jones had 5, 29 minutes.
PJ Washington got a lot of those in garbage time though too.
Yeah, playing 36 minutes in a game too. To me, it's just I go back at it and I look at it. I'm like, okay, if you have Luka, and we're gonna get back on him a little bit more because I noticed he had a little strain in his little knee a little bit. But what else we know that Kyrie is probably gonna have a good game too. He's not gonna have another game where he's shooting 6 for 19 and 0 for 5 from 3. But what else are we expecting from Dallas really to keep them into this series? If the Celtics keep playing the way that they are, and we'll talk about the third quarter next. Because we could get into it. I think that first half of the third quarter is kind of what I feel like. It wasn't Dallas at its peak, but it was more so at Boston, St. False that we've been talking about for years now.
Well,
reverting back to that stuff.
We're going to take 7 threes when we're up 21 points. What's the need for that? That's unnecessary. That's just saying, oh, I'm going to give you a chance to get back in the game. And I don't understand it. I understand you hit some towards the end of the third quarter, but it's just not a solid game plan if you ask me, plain and simple.
Yeah, they led the first half by 29 points, and I think Dallas cut it to like 8 at one point.
So yeah, it was 21 and going into the second half.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy to me. Um, how do you feel about basically Jason Kidd as far as coaching?
Come on, man. Like he's been decent this playoffs. Like I think a big thing of last round of why they got past is because of what Chris Finch was doing. Like we talked about the bad passes, and then after making all these passes, making the wrong pass, they left the perimeter open for Dallas all series, so they didn't even have to go down to the paint to go see the Twin Towers. Like, and just tonight, look, the Celtics they're guarding that 3-point line, not giving them anything, and they're just not even making the adjustment. They should have made it off the bat.
One thing I want to point out too, like to me, it just felt like Boston was there. The aggression was there defensively, but they seemed so calm and so poised in the moment. Specifically with Jaylen Brown, he guarded Luka a lot tonight, and it was just good to see him just there, not being too over aggressive, not shying away from the contact. It was just good to it was good for me to see it.
Yeah, he had his moment too at the end of the third, just like how KP did in the first. He had multiple blocks. He had multiple baskets. He showed up then. He had his time where he shined almost. I believe it was I think it was the Cleveland series where he went on like an 8-0 run by himself and had a couple steals at the end of the first half.
I just got to call it out for what it is, man. And I know we only going with game one. I definitely think Dallas is going to come out with a lot more adjustments going into game two. I think it's going to be a lot more of a closer game two. But there's not a damn thing that Dallas is going to be able to do if Kristaps is on that floor. Derek Lively cannot guard. Okay? Daniel Gafford cannot guard. If we're bringing those guys out of the paint, which I've been stating since this has been the matchup, that's going to be the huge X factor right there. It doesn't even matter if Kristaps scoring and doing what he did was just icing on the cake. Mm-hmm. But if you notice, okay, defensively, that's a different thing. But if you notice offensively with the Celtics, the ball was still being moved the same way. After, I believe it was the 4-minute mark to the end of the third quarter where Kristaps wasn't on that floor, but you noticed that the ball handlers, the scorers on the team of the Celtics and Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum adjusted and started taking the ball to the rim a little bit more. There was a couple crazy shots that they had, but they tried to get contact and get to that free throw line.
One thing with the two, we going back to about Jason Kidd's coaching. What the hell are you doing keeping Lively in there with 4 fouls in the third quarter to get his 5th? He's not producing for you. He has no points at that point, I believe. And you're going to keep him out there while he's playing reckless basketball where he just had to travel before that and gets 1 or 2 fouls, and they're blatant fouls. They're not touch fouls really close. Like, I don't understand that. And we got to remember too about Gafford. Look at who he was before he got to the Mavs and how he was playing back in March and April. He's nothing special.
I mean, I totally agree with you. Lively, we all know he's a rookie. We had conversations like this before when it comes to the young guys growing up in the NBA and stuff like that. And, a lot of the media, that was a crazy dunk by Jaylen right there, by the way. But a lot of the media has been on the Celtics' favor as far as the series because of experience, and besides probably Kyrie, with Luka being here for the first time, we know that he's dealing with an injury, but he's had a bad shooting night. Crazy to end up with still 30 points on 12 for 26 shooting. But Lively still has a lot of growing up and maturing to do and getting the understanding of the game and the moment that he's in and stuff like that, because a lot of fouls that he was making was stuff that we seen Karl Anthony Towns and Rudy make against him last series and stuff like that. So I would have thought that he would learn from the visual concept of seeing that. But we'll see game two. We'll see game two. It was definitely good to see Celtics attack the mismatch and get Lively at the point of attack, basically, and get him into more foul trouble and stuff. So, again, Jaylen Brown with the steal. I've been telling y'all, he's been cooking Luka since 2022. And I'm not taking anything away from Luka. I mean, 30 points, 10 rebounds, blase, blah, with 1 assist, but you 12 for 26 and 4 for 12. I
Missing
think
a
that's
ton of free throws too. I'll
yeah,
pull up his number here in a second. Hold on. Free throws. He's 2 of 5.
2
Like,
for
you
5,
shitting me?
2 for 5. Tatum. Tatum
I'm
only had
I'm
what he
cool
had
with it.
16,
Yep. Hold on. I'll check right
11
here.
rebounds, 5 assists.
Yep. And he only took 16 shots. How long have I been saying the sweet spot is for him taking 15 shots a game and they get the other guys involved? I believe we had 6 or 7 guys in double figures tonight. That's the sweet spot right there. They should keep doing this, especially if they play like they did on the defensive end tonight.
Yeah, no, definitely. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad for me as far as doing the other things besides scoring. A lot of people's going to look at the stat sheet and be like, "Damn, he played 42 minutes and only had 16 points." But again, it's the other things that matter. The big block, the only block that he had this game was that big block he had down in the paint, which was pretty much huge, which gave the Celtics a lot more momentum and kept them engaged and kept those guys going. But to see Tatum do the other things, I think that, for us, it's not all about scoring. But I think for his team, when they're able to see the main scorer on their team do the other things, I think that also uplifts everybody else to keep pushing forward. And like we said before, it's a good problem to have that you could only have 16 points in 42 minutes and still win the ball game.
Handedly, win it easily. Yeah.
I mean, if the Celtics lose this game and he played 42 minutes with only 16 points, we're going to be bashing him the whole time. And that's the thing that sucks is that, we got to point it out. Like, the 6 turnovers, like that has to cut down. A lot of times where Jason Tatum was driving to the basket and in midair, he's passing out the shot or the mid layup. He's passing out of that to basically throw a wild pass, which caused about 3 turnovers and stuff like that he had. But overall, the other things that he did was pretty good in my opinion, though.
One thing too that I really don't get is why was Sam Hauser the second guy off the bench? Why is Pritchard not going out there if you're going to put a guard out there of that type? Like, he was a great player this regular season. He hasn't done nothing in the playoffs. He doesn't even look like he belongs out there. And then we put him back in the third quarter. Like, what's going on here? Like, I really don't get that move at all.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. It's crazy because him and Hauser ended up with the same minutes, but I did notice that as well. The good thing I could say on Hauser's point is that, him with 3 shooting 2 for 2 from the 3 and 3 for 4 from the field was pretty good. We didn't notice that from him all postseason, at least in my perspective. So for him to show up and hit 2 threes off of the bench was pretty big. But I definitely do agree with the Pritchard part. You got to keep these guys engaged. You've been playing Pritchard basically all postseason so far up to this point. He's been the 6th, 7th man off of the bench, specifically before Hauser. And sometimes in moments like these, you got to keep these guys' confidence high. And I think to keep these guys' confidence high, you have to give them minutes. But I think with Porzingis being back and the way that the game was going, we'll see what happens in game 2. I definitely think the Celtics adjusted a little bit to coming out with a new scheme defensively and stuff like that. And I think Dallas's point of attack was pretty weak. It kind of, is, and I want to bring it back to the stats. And as far as assists, Dallas only had 9 assists in the game to Boston's 23. And those, and we got basically three assists for their 2 main guards.
You look a lot in that second quarter too. Even though they're playing 2-man basketball, the other 3 guys aren't moving around doing nothing.
Well, let me point this out. We want to talk about the team that, Minnesota beat Denver. Then Dallas beat Minnesota, the best defensive in the league. Then everybody's boasting about Dallas's defense. Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively, the Dallas Mavericks totaled 1 block for this game to Boston's 9. Okay. I'm just going to tell you right now, if Dallas is going to average only less than 10 assists, if Kyrie and Luka's going to try to be ball not dominant and not share the ball or not try to get others involved, and Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford is going to be in foul trouble or a no-show, this is easily going to be a sweep, and I'm going to call it. By the record, I had this in 5 games. I think Boston is going to win game 2. I think it's going to be a lot closer than what it was tonight. I think Dallas will win the first game in Dallas. Celtics will win game 4 and then close out in game 5. But if this is how it's going to be, it's going to be a clean sweep.
The only thing that we've seen this, I believe, 2 rounds now for Dallas where they've got absolutely obliterated in the first game. I know they did by the Clippers, and it might have happened with the Thunder second round. I don't remember offhand. But one thing that I noticed too right out of the gate, and I'm sure you noticed it too, there was one play where Lively, I don't know if it was a pass to him or he got a rebound, literally drops the ball on the line out of bounds. You can tell how nervous that man is out there. And having Rich Paul as your agent, he can have you make a phone call to LeBron or someone, so you know how to respond in the moment.
Yeah, it was kind of funny because he was trying to basically act like everything was okay. Which is a cool thing because you're a young kid, first time in the NBA Finals, you first time in the playoffs. You got to find some type of confidence to keep yourself engaged in the game, but I think that it made it a lot worse for him, which made him get into foul trouble. He was his own demon at that point, and the Celtics just pickpocketed it. There was a lot of plays where Dallas had a lot of hiccups and stuff like that. I noticed that Luka buckled his knee. Well, I'm not going to say he buckled it, but he looked like it was straining him or whatever you want to call it and stuff like that. So hopefully he's okay. Hopefully it doesn't get to a point where he's out or missing a game and it becomes another excuse for the Celtics winning this finals. But hopefully he's all right.
I think anytime, unless he really commits to it and starts putting in the work, he's going to get injured when we go this deep in the playoffs. The man is out of shape. He is a great tactical basketball player to know where to be to get the rebounds, and he's a great shooter, which makes him get away with it. But he is out of shape, and his conditioning just isn't there. And I feel like anytime that they get deep in the playoffs, we're going to see this in the future unless he puts the work in to get in shape.
And I absolutely agree. It just shows. And I've been saying it all since we known that the Celtics was going to be playing Dallas. Like, yeah, we could talk about Kyrie and Luka, one of the best offensive duos to probably ever play the game. Cool. But they still have yet to play a defense like Boston so far this postseason. To have to deal with Jaylen Brown most of the game is a heavy task. It's a heavy task for Luka. He's not. Jaylen Brown is a way better defender than Luke Dort. Jaylen Brown is a way better defender than Anthony Edwards. And then you have to switch with Jrue Holiday. And then you have to switch with Derek White. And then you have to switch with Jason Tatum. It's a lot more strenuous on those guys to have to worry about who their matchup is going to be versus than dealing with maybe one or two people like they have been the last 2 rounds. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. It's like, people are banking on the Celtics and their faults off of history, which is totally understandable. I don't fault it at all. But when you see regimes like this, when you see examples like this, we got to call it out to how it is. Kyrie has been struggling. He's 0-for-11 right now against the Celtics since he's left that team. I think besides in a playoff game or that 2020 playoffs or something like that. Since he
stopped unlucky, he's been 0-11.
Yeah, let's go from there. He's been 0-for-11, and then him for 6-for-19, 0-for-5 from 3. He was trying, it just wasn't enough. So I specifically called it. I thought that Kyrie was going to have a bad game. I thought that Luka was going to have a bad shooting night. First game of the finals. Celtics, yes, they had rest, but I just think that, and I'm standing with this, I think that the Celtics are just fully engaged from them being in the finals in 2022 and going through what they went through. I don't think they're going to let this pass them up.
Like we talk about the inexperience of Dallas and how they weren't ready tonight. Look at Porzingis. He's never made it out of the first round before. Played a game out of it. He looked comfortable out there. I know he went downhill in the second half, but he looked very comfortable out there to start the game. And then one thing here too, at the beginning of the third quarter, when we start letting him back in it, which was pathetic. That should not have happened. When he brought Hauser into the game, I really don't understand that move. As I said earlier, I'd like to see him bring someone like O'Shea Brissett into the game, who's going to set the tone defensively and get you some energy on the guys on the court. Because yeah, he's going to come in and get 3 fouls within 5 minutes, but he's going to play hard, get the rebounds, play some defense, and straighten it out. So you guys, while you're in your little shooting lull, can survive through it and then keep moving on and keep the pedal to the metal. And KP should have started that third quarter too. He didn't get out there to like the 6:53 mark, something like that. He should have been out there too. There's no reason for that. Keep the foot on the gas.
That's one thing that I think the Celtics, a lot of people kind of making this Mavericks and Celtics matchup a little evenly, because this Mazzulla doesn't really get deep into his bench like he could be with Brissett. And let's even talk about Cornette. Like, yeah, I'm not saying he's good. He's a decent piece off the bench to give you a solid 5 minutes if he, depending on the matchups and stuff like that. We didn't see Cornette. We seen Cornette all playoffs, of course, because Porzingis was hurt, but we didn't see Cornette until like the last 5 minutes of the game.
Yeah, he sort of got cooked this playoffs, though, when he was out there. To be honest, that was another like Hauser situation where he wasn't the best. But if you want to go real deep into the bench, if you're putting Hauser out there, put Mihailuk out there. He's a bigger body that can defend, and he's going to get me those.
I love that kid. Yeah. I've been liking him. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think he was with LA at one point too.
No, I don't know, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't know. Leave a comment down below if you know where Mihailuk played before this. I think it was not before this, but I think he played with LA for a little bit, some other team. But I've been watching him for a long time, and I notice with him, every time he comes out onto the court, no matter what time is left or what the score is, he's always giving it his all, and he seems pretty efficient from wherever he shoots the ball from. But yeah, I think the biggest shout out is to KP. Like you said, for him to be out here first game in 10 games, missing a month of basketball, he looked real comfortable. But I think he's with a very good organization. I think in past situations, he was the number 1, number 2 option. So I think that kind of like not only put a lot of pressure on him at a young age, but, he had a pretty tough task on his shoulders. Now he's with the Celtics. He's arguably could be the second option all the way to the 5th option. So I think that's a good problem to have. So the title is in the Celtics' hands. And I know it's still early to call. I still got the Celtics in 5. I'm not going to change my pick. But if KP is going to be like this, and this is what it's going to be, and Dallas is going to come out this way, yes, we know Kyrie's not going to have a bad game like this again. Well, won't say again, but maybe game 2. It's going to be over quick. It's going to be over quick.
Yeah, they're gonna have to make some big adjustments. And one thing I like too about the Celtics is they can't, even though they didn't really get that push until KP came in the game. You see Jaylen Brown diving for the ball on the first play. That shows good intensity. You're getting that Marcus Smart heart and soul back without the downfall of it, with him bringing guys down around and clanking shots that he shouldn't be taking.
Yeah, somebody got to pick up the slack, because, regardless of what people say, man, Marcus Smart was really the heart and soul of the team. And to see Jaylen Brown take over that role, we know he's not Marcus Smart, but it's good to be able to take that role and announce it, not only defensively but offensively too. Being able to show the difference of, okay, if my shot's not falling from out there, I'm going to take it into the hole. It's good to see him still confident to be able to shoot that ball from the long range and stuff like that. So, yeah, shout out to them guys. I think game 2 is going to be good, man. Game 2 is going to be good. I think it's going to be closer, but I think the Celtics got their foot on the gas, man.
Because before this game, I said I was going to pick whoever lost for game 2, but After what I saw tonight,
You had Celtics in 6, Mike. I mean, you
I
had
had Mavs in 7.
Mavs in 6 or 7.
Yeah, 7 because I said Kyrie was going to hold up the trophy over Lucky, but I didn't
You
put
had
any money on it.
Mavs
I didn't
in
put any
7,
money on it, bro. I'm
Mike.
telling you that I was not confident, but yes, that was my pick.
You know, when you have Maverick, when you have a team in 7 games, that just shows you not as confident.
Yeah, of course not. Of course not. I told you, even when I said it, I wouldn't put money on it. If I'm not putting money on it, I'm not confident in it at all. Like, but now for the next game, I can't pick the Mavs after I saw that. It's like for the next game, that's crazy. I was so disappointed with what I saw tonight,
So
bro.
is it fair to say this is a pick'em series for you? Is this going to be a pick'em series?
Maybe originally.
Tips, what's good, man?
Leaving live from the Arbog Center, baby.
There we go, man. Listen, I need to. What's the noise going on around there, man? You hear the chants going on upstairs? Hey, by the way, Clips got a little lag, man. Everybody watching, man. Clips is live from the Celtics practice facility. You know what I'm saying? He might have a little glitch going on right now. But
Yo, I'm here. What was you asking?
What's up, man? What's the energy like in Boston right now, man?
Yo, I told y'all. Listen, I told y'all, boy. That boy Jaylen Brown is coming to play. I told you.
He's earning that $300 million.
Every penny. You hear me? Every penny. 3 blocks. I'm taking him on the defensive end. 3 blocks, 3 steals. He played great defense. I don't like the switching, but I like his communication on the switching. He's helping Porzingis out. Like, he's being very vocal, helping him out. Tatum, 6 TOs again. Tighten up, my boy. Tighten up. I tell everybody this. When you play for Boston, it's a different feel. We are the city of champions. You win this chip, you will be immortalized into Boston culture forever. Y'all gotta win this.
That's true. That's a fact.
Listen, right now, Jaylen Brown is my finals MVP. And I know it's still early. But I don't see, like, with KP. Listen to me. Just check this out. If KP keep playing the way he do, and JB keep playing the way that he do, JT ain't winning finals MVP. I don't even give a damn if he have a 50-point game. It's not gonna happen.
KP had a slow second half too. The first half was.
But just the impact that he had in the first half of the game off of missing 10 games alone. Right now, JT's probably in like 4th place in line for finals MVP right now.
Yo, are we not going to talk about KP protecting the rim? Fast break blocks? Like,
he was a one-man wrecking crew for a while.
Yo, he went on a spurt, and it was looking like you couldn't do nothing with him.
Mm-hmm. Clips, how you feel about Dallas only having 1 block as a total team this game, and also 9 assists? I think Kyrie only had 2 assists, and Luka had 1.
That's testament to our defense. That's our defense. Make the role players struggle.
Do you think that's defense, or do you think that's like them two just trying to do it all themselves? Jason Kidd had to have a conversation with Kyrie. They stated and said that basically you're playing too much one-on-one basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, you can't have that conversation now, and that's what got y'all there. That's our defense. That's our defense. We're not going to blame him for doing that now. No, that's our defense. We made it tougher on the road pieces. We played help defense in that pick and roll switch. Every time Luka got to the free throw, you see how many white jerseys around there? He couldn't throw a lob. He couldn't throw a bailout pass. We're sitting home. We play great team defense. That's what I call team defense.
Look at the scheme. I'm a huge critic of Missoula, but that scheme was genius tonight. He had it so they didn't even have to move. They literally could just stand there and play defense.
You know, I thought, you know, when you text me that, like, I was gonna bring that up this episode, but I wonder how many people noticed that the Celtics played a 1-2-2 defense.
And
listen, I'm telling you,
they didn't have to move.
Yo, my boy Joe, that was the smartest defense you could have ever came. Smartest play ever, boy. You are a genius. Class act for the first game. Now, what I want to see is what you got for game 2, because they're gonna be countering that. So, game 2.
I don't know about that. Look at Jason Kidd, man. I don't know.
Listen, so okay, so all right, we know that Kyrie's not gonna have another 6 for 19 shooter night. Luka had 30. Okay, let's put it like this: he may or he may not. Let's even put it: Kyrie has 30, Luka has 30. Okay, who can you really count on against Boston's defense to guarantee you 10 plus points moving forward in this series? Who can you count on? Guaranteed. PJ Washington had to really. This was the toughest I ever seen him play this postseason. Probably since he's been in the NBA. I ain't never seen a post presence in PJ Washington until tonight. He wasn't hitting no shots from outside like he's been last series. You see how disrespectful the Celtics was leaving him open this game. Clank.
You can't do that next game. Look what I'm telling you. Just don't leave him open in the corner.
Hey. Listen, I think the scheme is that the Celtics is gonna let the others beat them.
Yeah, and I'll accept that. They even put Tim Hardaway in, who ain't getting no burn in his playoffs, and I was like, oh really? Now y'all want to go to Timmy?
Look at who the coach is, man. That's all I gotta say. He should have been out there before this.
That's crazy. Like y'all waited till now to put Tim Hardaway out there, really, bro? Like, okay.
Look at Jones Jr. too. They didn't use him at all. They handed him that first 3 of the game, and then they didn't touch him after that.
Yeah, man.
I mean, it's just, you know, it's crazy because we're bringing up all this stuff, and you know, before this game, it was really a lot of talks about the others. We were talking about Luka and Kyrie a lot, but it was more talks about the others and how much impact they're going to have on that team. And Dallas has more depth than Boston, or Dallas can equal towards Boston and stuff like that. When we're talking about guys like Maxi Kleber, when we're talking about guys like Hardy, Dante Exum, like, okay, Luka's arguably the best player on the court. Who we're going next? Jason Tatum.
Mm-hmm.
Who we're going next? Is it fair to say Jaylen Brown?
Yep.
And then, so
then we're gonna go. Even if we go Kyrie, even if we go Kyrie third, Jaylen Brown fourth. Who we got fifth?
Drew Holiday.
Nah, okay, if he was 100%.
Who we got six? Drew Holiday.
Yeah.
Who we got seven? Derek White. You know, so it's too much. It's just going to be too much.
And I ain't going to hold you. I'll say if Porzingis could play the spark role for the whole series, like get us going early, I love it. Because when he got going, Hauser got going. Hauser hit a leaning 3 in the corner. I dropped the phone. I said, he got it. It's over. It's over. He's doing Curry things. Oh, it's over. Yeah, it's up. Yeah,
he doesn't even have to do that, though, because JB's usually their opener, and he usually does the same thing. He racks up most of his points in the first quarter a lot of times.
But I like Porzingis opening so JB could focus in on the defensive end.
Without a doubt.
He was locking up. Like I said, man. 3 blocks, 3 steals, man.
That's one thing that I talked about before last episode, man, was that, you know, even with Porzingis doing what he did was great. It was good to have. I definitely think he was the X factor this game, but with him just having his presence of being a 7'3" tall mother effer on that court is the difference for me. Offensively and defensively, that 5-and-out spread is going to have to bring Lively or Gafford out. They're not going to be able to play like how they did against Minnesota because Karl-Anthony Towns, he wasn't hitting threes, so he stayed away from that three-point line, and we already know we had Rudy down low. So that was already a boxing in for those guys. It was easy for them. And then defensively, we got Kyrie and Luka on the pick and roll. You've seen numerous amount of times, even with PJ Washington, where they're trying to go into the lane and he's contesting shots. It's hard to shoot against somebody that has almost probably an 8-foot wingspan. I don't know exactly, but come on, know.
Yes, that is very true. Very, very, very true.
One thing that I've been on for a while is I've said for a while that Kyrie and Luka, they don't really got a team around them. And one reason last round why I said the Wolves were the superior team is because I don't respect their big men at all. Even going back to the Clippers series, I said Zubac could be an X factor, like because Lively, he's had his injury issues and he's young this year too. He was wearing a face mask for a little bit, and then Gafford. I have no faith in Gafford. I'm not even going to consider Keebler. Not even consider.
A lot of people seem to have a lot of faith in them after they beat Minnesota. I just gotta say it.
Like I said, one assist by Luka Doncic, man. We need to stem that as a win. And one assist, 30 points, 10 and one assist, like.
Kyrie only had 2.
I love it. I love our defense, team defense, man.
Real quick before we get out of here, man, what do y'all think Dallas needs to do to even make it a competitive game going into game 2?
Well, first off, they gotta move around on offense and not just be stationary. And other guys got to get involved in just Luka and Kyrie. Like, it's great to play 2-man basketball, but if everyone's just standing there, it's not going to work. And with Kidd, he's got to make adjustments and he's got to use his head. Like, what are you doing keeping Lively in there? And you're going to make the adjustments as soon as you see something wrong.
Lively with 5 fouls was key too.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like, you could get what was it, like 3-4 minutes left in the third quarter, and he's 1 foul from fouling out. Like, what are we doing? He's not putting any points on the board. It's not like you need him out there. He's not doing nothing.
And I love the fact that our stars and Brown and Tatum, when they got Luka in front of them, make him guard. Yes.
One thing I do want to point out, because we didn't talk too much about it in the third quarter, is that the Celtics kind of reverted back to what we used to been seeing in that first half of the third, and that first 8 minutes in the third quarter. And I think Dallas needs to really watch the tape offensively in that start of the third quarter to be able to get at least a little scheme of what they could do as far as taking Boston out of transition and stuff like that. We all know that Boston likes to settle and get a little bit too comfortable when they get these leads. So, I do want to shout out to Dallas for trying to take advantage and cutting that lead down from 29 down to, I believe, 8 or 7 points at one point. So, again, Boston could do what they want. They could be up 30 or be up 40, 50 points, but we see what could happen when they're not in the game or not involved anymore. So moving forward, we know this is game 1. Me personally, I'm still sticking Celtics in 5. Anything can happen, but the finals is in their hands, fellas. I personally think that they're their own defeat, and we'll just have to see moving forward. Who y'all got game 2?
Celtics after that, but I want to say one quick stat. I want to say a few quick stats real quick. Kyrie led the Mavericks with 2 assists tonight. Exum had the same amount of assists as Doncic, and Kyrie was a -20.
I got to sip to that one.
I gotta mention. I had to mention that before we went off. Like, we're talking an NBA Finals game. Are you shitting me?
And Dante Exum only played 5 minutes, I think, this game.
Yeah, I wanted to find an even worse player to match it up to, but I couldn't really find anyone else that 1 assist below him.
I mean, it's clear as day that Kyrie and Luka wasn't trying to get nobody in. I'm not going to say they wasn't trying to get anybody involved. I feel like a lot of times during a game where they had a lot of shots that really looked like it was good looks. But after a while, man, Kyrie was in a slump, man. And I don't know. I just, I think in the moment being in the crowd of Boston and stuff like that kind of got to him a little bit and stuff. So I think they'll adjust for game 2, and I think it's going to be a little bit closer. But I got Celtics game 2.
One more thing. Let's just go down Dallas's plus minus list real quick. We got Jones Jr. at a minus 12, Washington minus 15, Gafford minus 10, Irving minus 19, Doncic minus 10, Lively minus 15, Hardy minus 3, Green minus 5, Keebler minus 15, and then we have Exmit Powell at plus 7.
So the guys that Jesus Christ
that played in garbage time were the only guys that were positive for the game.
Well, Powell's going to be a positive because he didn't even put up a statistic.
Yep, you're sure. Yep, you sure
5
right
minutes
about
to
that.
nothing. Yeah, Dallas has a lot to look at. They got 2 days, and it kind of sucks. I'm kind of pissed that the finals is not. I mean, the game 2 is not till Sunday. It's kind of annoying.
After we had to wait 8 days, 9 days, whatever it was. Come on, this is crazy.
Hey, like I said earlier, man, Celtics in 5, but if this is how it's going to be and KP is going to look how he looks and Kyrie is going to play one-on-one ball and Luka's going to be selfish, this is going to be an easy sweep. We'll be done by next week.
And Sam Hauser was a plus 17. Other than a few plays, can we remember him doing much, really? That shows how bad everyone else was on Dallas.
Yeah, they got a lot of adjustment to do, man. Everybody tuning in, man, leave a comment down below who y'all got for game 2. We will be having another live episode this Saturday. Me and Mike and more of the fellas are going to be on talking about this game 1 a little bit, but we had to do another little recap after this game and stuff like that. We will be here Saturday, 12 noon. Leave a comment down below. Y'all continue to like the channel, continue to subscribe. We appreciate all the subscribers that have been here. Appreciate the old subscribers, the new subscribers. Continue to share. You see the socials down below. Tune in for this Saturday and enjoy the night. Peace.
Brady 8.
Hey, run that thing up.